sent shivers through the spines of a lot of people in the region who experienced this firsthand. At the end of it, we felt totally let down by the state security apparatus. And along the line, the party has been thinking very, very hard on peace and security. That if this trend should continue and it does not stop with subsequent elections, then there was a lot of concern and a lot of worry. The security that we experienced in the elections in our region is a thing of the past. We are here to look at the future. A future which we hope we can rely on our security forces to protect every Ghanaian. It doesn't matter whether you wear these colors behind me or you wear any other color. The state security apparatus should be able to protect you without fear or favor. And that is what I believe all of us here are interested in. That is why we've all gone through the very bad, bumpy roads in our hinterland to arrive here this morning. Without my all Ghanaians and not for a particular set of Ghanaians. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's who we're going to introduce the chairman. DCOP. We get Commodore Rex Akuffo and Major also in our midst, representative service group. Please, if you are from the prison service as well, and we have police all around us. And we have 33. Please, believe that the house is really loaded.
Generals, chairman of the Eastern region, I have the singular honor to introduce the pilots and the co-pilots. I'll introduce the co-pilots. He that manage Regional Police Commissioner of Police, retired Douglas Addo. Now the pilots, the chairman of this grand occasion, senior high school.
To broad usage since the Second World War means different things to different people. For example, to some people, national security clearly signifies the protection of a nation's people, the nation's territory, and the nation's assets against physical assault. In that narrow sense, national security is roughly equivalent to the traditionally used term defense. Ladies and gentlemen, national security, however, has a more extensive meaning than protection from physical harm. It also implies protection through a variety of means, the loss of which therefore will threaten fundamental values and the vitality of the state. And the professionalism of these services, when it falls, we should be able to constantly receive their we should be able to constantly review their various training schemes, their equipment state, the accommodation state, their pay and allowances, health, and other welfare matters. Ladies and gentlemen,
identifiable group, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and individuals have been praying for peace. And indeed, we even have children serving as peace ambassadors. I think it is fair to say that the Ghanaian people are united in our determination that our nation remains peaceful and the elections pass off creditably. The most important thing for a nation is the peace and safety of its people and territorial integrity of the state. It is when this is guaranteed that the citizens can go about their lives and hope to improve upon the quality of their circumstances. I have, in the course of this campaign, addressed various policy positions on various aspects of our lives. I've spoken about education, health, agriculture, industrialization, corruption, and yesterday I spoke about our arts and culture. The most sacred duty of any government is the assurance of the safety and security of the people. And today, I want to address the subject of maintaining peace and security and the services that are on the front line of providing this duty. Ladies and gentlemen, the traditional challenges to security, such as chieftaincy conflicts, land disputes, religious intolerance, tribal and ethnic conflicts, and political rivalry, are being compounded by contemporary threats like drug and human trafficking, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, armed and highway robberies, cybercrime, and activities of nomadic herdsmen. Today, the challenges to Ghana's national security are certainly numerous, more complex, and sometimes quite unpredictable. All of us owe a debt of gratitude to the men and women who work to keep us and our nation safe. In a democracy, the organizations that are generally referred to as constituting the security services, the police, the army, and the intelligence services, are expected to be politically neutral in performing their duties. The law states so, and normal practice gives them this neutral outlook. It is in everybody's interest that the security services retain the neutrality and professionalism guaranteed under the Constitution of the Republic. Governments have term limits, and in a multi-party democracy, parties win and lose power. It is good for the health of the nation that this is so. This is why the security services should not be made to tie their well-being or otherwise to the fortunes of the ruling party of the day. During periods of military rule, the separation of roles between the security services and the government of the day invariably gets blurred. I suspect the malicious propaganda against the NPP being anti-military probably stems from the period of the fight against military rule. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to make the point forcefully at the outset that fighting for democratic rule and campaigning against military rule cannot be equated to being anti-military. I was in the forefront of that struggle, and I am certainly not anti-military, despite all the efforts to portray me as such. I have no plans. I have no plans to turn our soldiers into farmers, nor do I intend to touch the single spine arrangements that were initiated by the NPP government of John Akuffo to fund the free senior high school program. I have indicated where the funds for that will come from, largely from our oil revenues. So our men in uniform, they should rest in peace and assured. Security services accept their professional role as defenders of the state under civilian government control. That is one of the tenets of democracy. In 2001, when the NPP came into office, we saw it as our duty to ensure that the security services are provided with the necessary environment to enable them to discharge their constitutional duties. This involves the physical conditions like accommodation for service personnel, the provision of proper equipment, the training, and the preparedness of personnel to carry out their operations. One area of concern is the payment of rent by service personnel. Although all soldiers occupying military quarters are charged a monthly rent of 5% on their consolidated pay, the monies accruing from this deduction are never used to maintain or improve the state of accommodation. The next MPP government will ensure that such monies are used for the purpose for which they are intended. Mr. Chairman, I dare say that under the Akuffo government, the Ghana Armed Forces saw a much greater improvement than there had been previously. A new pension scheme for the Ghana Armed Forces was approved, and money was secured for the payment of retirement benefits of soldiers whose retirement was overdue because of lack of funds. Burma Hall was upgraded into a state-of-the-art auditorium, and numerous buildings, like Beijing Barracks and Burma Camp, were put up all around the country to accommodate servicemen. The 37 military hospital was upgraded and refurbished. Ladies and gentlemen, the police service also experienced significant improvement in the supply of logistics, equipment, and support from the NPP government. Funding activities of the Ghana Police Service were increased substantially under the NPP administration. This was made possible by NPP innovative programs that attracted additional bilateral support from countries that have not traditionally supported activities of our police service. Countries as diverse as France, Spain, India, Nigeria, South Africa, for the first time ever, provided significant logistical, financial, and technical support to the Ghana Police Service. Under the Mills Mahama administration, however, the significant gains our country made in depoliticizing our state security agencies have been lost and replaced with an aggressive politicization agenda. Indeed, as soon as the NDC assumed office in January 2009, the training of 2 batches of armed forces recruits selected during the latter part of the NPP administration was cancelled, and the nation was told loudly that these young people who had been recruited under a meticulously devised regimen were NPP foot soldiers. In the process, about 900 young men and women who could have excelled in carrying out their military duties were denied the opportunity to serve in their country's armed forces. Mr. Chairman, under the NDC regime, recruitment, promotions, and appointments within the security services have been subjected to a political acid test of loyalty to the NDC rather than emphasis on competence, seniority, and loyalty to the state. Ladies and gentlemen, we all sleep feeling safe because the men and women of the services work to keep our nation and our streets safe. We pay tribute to the men and women of the service. They deserve our respect and support, and I look forward to working with them when, with God's help and your votes on December 7th, an NPP government under my leadership is elected to run the affairs of our nation. Thank you.
Everybody, I said that whatsoever, or any confusion in his mind, as to the state. Let's call on this.